Welcome to the Fit Strong Women Over 50 podcast, episode number 171. Hi, I'm Jill. Thank you for joining us today.
And I'm Chris. Jill and I are your hosts for this podcast and the founders of the Becoming Ellie community.
We decided to name our community Becoming Ellie because Ellie was the Norse goddess of aging who beat Thor in a wrestling match. Chris and I thought, hey, we want to be like Ellie, fit and strong as we age.
You can find out more about the Becoming Ellie community and this podcast at our website, becomingellie.com. Ellie is spelled E-L-L-I. Sign up for our newsletter while you're there.
Today, we're talking with Karen Clark-Snitchler, a member of the Becoming Ellie community. She has completely revamped her health, weight, and outlook.
Karen shares some great information about fitness, food, and general health. Let's go to the podcast. Karen Clark-Snitchler is a music director and conductor. She has an impressive list of plays and musicals that she has music directed. By day, Karen is a music teacher. She also started a Girls on the Run club at her elementary school.
Karen has lost over 100 pounds and become an athlete. She runs and strength trains.
In 2020, Karen's husband died suddenly of a heart attack. Not wanting to make their two daughters orphans, she decided to make a lot of health changes. She started at 276 pounds and over a couple of years lost 100 pounds on Weight Watchers and also took up running.
Karen set a goal in 2022 to run in 10 5Ks before starting a new job in a new school district in September. She met her goal in August of 2022, made lifetime at Weight Watchers again, done that 3 times, dated a bunch and met her now husband, May of 2022. They married in May of 2023.
Welcome, Karen. Wow, that is quite a story. And thank you so much for being on the podcast.
Oh, you're most welcome. This is, I've been listening to you guys for years. So thank you.
That's cool. That's cool. Well, the year I turned 50, I was out of shape, overweight, and not feeling very well. When I went to my doctor, he suggested that I lose weight through Weight Watchers. And I guess it's called WW now, but it was Weight Watchers back then. And it was a long road, but along the way, I decided I wanted to be fit and strong and not just lose weight. It's been quite a while since I started, but I'm committed to keep the weight off and stay fit, which is a roundabout way of me asking you if you'd be willing to share your weight loss journey with us.
Oh, sure. Basically, which time? Every time
We'll start with the first time,
After Shannon, my oldest, was born. Yeah, that was the first time I did Weight Watchers. I shed the baby. I gained a lot with her, was, preeclampsia and all that. And so really needed to drop that weight and did it very quickly. And then got pregnant a year and a half later with Renee. Had a harder time shedding the weight after Renee was born. There was probably some, oh my gosh, what's it called when you're baby blues? What's the technical?
Postpartum depression.
Right. It was probably some postpartum depression going on. I think that was probably the reason why 3 years later I bought a horse.
Oh, fun.
I liquidated one of my IRAs. Okay, financial, dumb idea to do in your 40s. Don't do that. But Big Mac was a big help in my recovery. We lived in Jupiter Farms, Florida back then. And so we had a property that could easily have Big Mac. And of course, he had to have a friend. So he a little Shetland pony.
So it was Big Mac was the horse and the little pony was French fry? No.
No, I wish. It was Hurricane Billy Blazes. He survived Hurricane Andrew, and he was something. It was a very funny duo. But doing all those farm chores, that kept the weight off. Then we moved up to for my late husband's job. In 2009, we moved up here to upstate New York. The weight started to come back on because it wasn't as the horses were now living stables, and I was visiting them, and I don't know. And so I went back on Weight Watchers, made Lifetime, and that was 2014. Made Lifetime, and kept it off for some time. Thought I've had these dreams I was going to be a leader. Maybe one day, who knows? But I've just been up and down and up and down pretty much most of my life. You saw in my my email address that the diver is part of it. Yeah, I'm also a scuba instructor.
Oh,
I kind of left that out of the bio because what's the point? But I've maintained an active life, but when I'm not being active, then the pounds just creep back on.
sure. Yeah.
Weight Watchers works for me. The new program, WW, it's all just the same thing, but they are giving us the information on our macros now. So that's kind of
they are.
Yeah. That's a newer thing, isn't it?
right.
Yeah.
Because I was doing double the entry. Try to imagine this. I am a steady tracker. I'm a good girl. I put it all in the app. And then I also duplicate it into my Fitness Pal so I can have my macros.
Yeah. My Fitness Pal does the macros, and I've always found that was helpful.
Well, yeah, it's great. Well, now Weight Watchers, and I'm not ready to dump my Fitness Pal yet because I'm not
Right.
sure. It's a new thing that just rolled out in this last month. So we'll
Wow,
see.
that's absolutely well, Weight
That is
Watchers
big
used to
news.
sort of like just pretend you didn't even have calories. I mean,
Yeah, that's quite true. But they're working on it. What it is they won't give you any advice. What should my macros be?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so it's like you're giving us all this data, but you're not telling us what to do with said data. And that's annoying, but
Yeah.
it is what it is.
Well, and everybody's a little bit different too in how they burn things, I guess. So,
Right. Exactly. When my husband passed away in 2020, he had a heart attack at the top of the stairs. He was 55 years old, and it was AFib. He was not taking good care of himself. And frankly, I wasn't at that point either. We all got through that part of COVID, but that was in the summer of, we were still in quarantines and things. It was, nasty business. But I just didn't want the kids to become orphans. They were 20 and 18 at the time. And 2 kids in college, and your husband dies. It was hard.
yeah, that's the understatement, isn't it?
Yeah, it was a real wake up call. The best thing I think I can say it was my my doctor. Ironically, when I got the telephone call from my daughter that her dad had died, she had been doing CPR on him for 20 minutes and with help from the 911. Anyway, I was in my doctor's office at the time of when that happened. And so I took the telephone call right in front of my physician. And I can't tell you what incredible things she did for me on the back end. She got me immediately into therapy because it was trauma. Like the next day, I was meeting with a counselor. I can't tell you how incredible, nothing festered. Whereas my personal belief is if you don't deal with it immediately, well, you're going to deal with it in 5 years, 10 years, but you will deal with it. And that was the best thing that happened, was that she got me immediately into therapy. It's a cooperative practice. I don't know if you remember the TV show Private Practice, and they all talk to each other about their patients. Hopefully it's not as crazy as that TV show.
it's juicy.
Yeah, exactly. But
Was that a show after Grey's Anatomy, Private Practice?
yeah,
Wasn't that a
spin-off. Yeah, it was a
spin-off? Yeah.
Yeah.
I do remember that.
Yeah. And, but the whole idea was that it was a cooperative practice. And so it was incredible. So she stayed with me through the whole weight loss journey. I made a decision right then and there. I go, I'm going to start eating right. And it took a while, but I lost 100 pounds, and it was pretty amazing.
Yeah, that's a ton of persistence and, mental change as well as physical change.
And I really, like I said, I really owe it a lot to that therapist. We were together for a year. And then one day she said, guess what? You're all better. And I'm like, I am. I'm all better. Yeah, you don't need to be here. And I'm like, and that was that was something hard to deal with. But I kept going to the meetings. I'm lucky. We have in-person meetings. I only have to drive 45 minutes to get to it. But there's I live in the middle of nowhere. I live in Green, New York.
Well, when I think of New York, I don't think of the middle of nowhere, but there are places that are very remote, huh?
I'm in a rural area that's 30 minutes north of Binghamton and an hour and a half south of Syracuse. And there's a stretch of farms, nothing but farms. And there's industry. The Raymond Corporation is in my town. They make pallet lifters. What are those things called? Oh my gosh.
Forklifts.
Forklifts. That's the word. Thank you.
When you said ramen, of course, I went straight to food. I'm like, what? Those little noodles are in your town?
Oh, ramen.
Ramen. Yeah. Sorry about that.
That's that and a school district are the largest employers.
Yeah.
So we're in the middle of nowhere. It takes a half an hour of driving to get to anything. So, but that's okay. I like it here. It's beautiful. And everything is snow covered right now.
Do you eat differently now that you've lost the weight compared to how you were eating while you were losing weight?
Yes, significantly. After I lost the weight and kept it off for a few years and met Steve and we got married, I actually put 40 pounds back on. And in June of this year, I decided to go back on program because, I was perfect and I lost it all and I kept it off and I didn't have to track anymore and I do have to track. I love food. But what we did differently this time and how we're eating now is the big difference. We're eating whole foods. We're eating real food, nothing ultra processed. I can't say that it doesn't get brought in the house. It doesn't go, I'm not eating it. I'm documented down 25 pounds right now. So I want to lose another 20. And then I'll be back at goal weight and be happy, super happy. But the ultra processed foods were really making my inflammation really up there. In August of 2024, I had a function health panel done, and it's blood tests that I could order on my own. And my C-reactive protein was 11.2, which is really high. That's the measure of the inflammation in your body. And so I made it a goal. I really wanted to reduce that because my LDL cholesterol was kind of high, but I'm also Nordic, in other words, you can't blame it all on your genes. But I even though we were eating better, I'm like, how do I reduce this? And it turned out to be like a lot of cortisol because I'm a conductor. It's a high stress job.
Yes, it is.
An orchestra of 30 professional musicians together with a cast of, regular, normal, average people, community theater members, and keeping it all together. It's a hard job. And then after doing that, after teaching, so the cortisol is really, really high. So I tried to work on reducing my inflammation by getting a hold of my gut health. That was a big change.
Oh, good. Yeah, we did have a question about gut health. Can you talk about that a little bit more?
I can tell you all about it, but
what kind of foods you eat?
Let me just finish this one thought. So I was measured at 11.2. And in 3 months later, on November 24th of 2024, it was measured, the exact same test, same fasting, everything the same, as less than 0.2, which statistically, I learned in my PhD program that statistic means undetectable. The supplements, the gut health definitely made a measurable difference. It's really helpful in my health journey. Gut health. Okay, this is not my area. This is not what my doctorate is in. My doctorate's in educational research and evaluation with a minor in statistics. So I'm not a medical professional.
We got that. Okay.
I want to make sure.
Yep.
No, in other words, I can sound like I know what I'm talking about, but you got to consult your own people. I, of course, do a probiotic every day. I'm brewing kombucha at home. Because it's so expensive. Kombucha in my area right now they're getting $4.50 a bottle for GTs. And that's insane because you can make it for pennies. So that's once a day. The probiotic is Thorn, and it's their Prime Floral. I will change it up every day. I don't eat the same exact foods every single day, but I make my own sauerkraut. But I've bought like at Whole Foods or at Wegmans their sauerkrauts before mine was ready. Of course, yogurts, kefir or kefir, however we're saying it.
Well, I don't know how we pronounce that, but
I listen to a British podcast, the Zoe Science and Nutrition, and they're all British, and then they say everything differently too, and I can't come up with it. But it's basically I'm trying to eat 30 different plants a week.
Yeah, I have a checklist for that somewhere here.
And plants are more than just fruits and vegetables. It also includes spices, includes herbs and nuts and seeds. Doing 30 different plants a week, it's not hard. And my husband's lost 18 pounds and he's not even trying.
Just kind of rubbed off on him. Yeah, like, don't really? You hate that when the guys you're working so hard on it, right?
I'm like going, I'm walking here. I did a skip run the other day. It's like, and you do, but he's making better health decisions too. He's also 61, so hopefully we'll be able to live a long life together.
Well, I have two questions based on what you just said. One, you said you had a functional health panel done where you learned about your C-reactive protein. You said you did that yourself. Was it someplace online?
Yeah. Dr. Mark Hyman has Function Health. He's a functional medicine practitioner as well as an MD. And he has made it so that you can order your own tests. But living in the great state of New York, because apparently the powers that be feel that we are not able to make these type of decisions, I actually have to drive down to Pennsylvania to have my blood drawn to get this data. Yes, because I live in the great state of New York.
That's interesting. So I know Dr. Hyman has that. Also, there's a company, and I can't remember their name, but if you look at the Huberman podcast, there's another company that does the same thing that's also, they're a sponsor of Huberman, and I can't remember the name, but if you were wanting to research,
I'll put it in the show notes so that we
just another option, right. Because right. I'm sure they all.
I didn't know about that one. The other that I want to do, but I can't. I had mentioned before the Zoe Science and Nutrition, but I'm in the great state of New York, and I can't do that either because the power of B think that we can't make our own health decisions.
Zoe, no, say that again.
Zoe, ZOE, Science and Nutrition podcast. It's some of the top minds in nutrition are a part of Zoe. It's a gosh, you should just listen to them because I'll say it all wrong, but
well, that's a great recommendation. I'm looking forward to that. And my other question, you mentioned your kombucha recipe and you make your own sauerkraut. Would you be willing to share your recipes with us?
Oh, sure.
Oh, cool.
Sure.
Cool.
You want me to tell you, or because it's pretty simple.
If it's pretty simple, sure, go ahead.
And I'll be happy to give it to you in writing.
That would be great too.
Make kombucha, you're doing 2 fermentations. So for the first fermentation, I do 4 bags of I use an organic black tea and 3/4 of a cup of sugar. That sounds like a lot, but the SCOBY and the process eats up all that sugar. But you let it cool, then you add 8 cups of water so that you get it to about 75 degrees. Once it's there, you can add your SCOBY, which is there's a pellicle, which is this thing that grows in it. And then the SCOBY is the symbiotic life that, boy.
It's that blobby stuff that you find in kombucha.
Yeah, it's the stuff at the bottom of the can. And anyway, you just put it all together. I got my SCOBY from one of my piano students. They're so amazing. I love these people. They brew a lot more than I do.
Is that what people call the mother?
Yeah.
Okay.
You're talking about
so it's like the active ingredient.
Yeah, that's the SCOBY. And you just let it sit for 7 to 10 days. It's harder in the wintertime because it's colder in the house. And then you save 2 cups of that and put that in a mason jar and you transfer your SCOBY to that, we call it a hotel. And then the rest of it you can bottle. And when you're bottling it, now you have to decide how do you want to flavor it. One of my favorite is wild blueberries. and like frozen wild blueberries, which I let come to room temperature, and some ginger. The ginger gives a little extra fizz.
Sounds
And
good.
yeah, that's pretty yummy. Cranberry and lemon was pretty good. Had to add some of my husband's honey. My husband's a beekeeper.
So's mine.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
we sell at a farmer's market during the summertime and in the fall, and it's like a little side business for him. So, but that's how you make kombucha. And I can give you the recipe for sauerkraut's even easier.
Okay.
Slice it up.
Slice the cabbage.
Right, slice the cabbage nice and thin, put it in the bowl. Take a tablespoon of kosher salt and sprinkle it on there and massage it in for 5 minutes. Leave it alone. I let mine sit for about 30 minutes to get some water. That's what allows the cabbage to release some of its juices. And then you just pack it in the mason jar. I have these little burpers. It's a thing I got online. It's a silicone top, and it's has like a nipple at the top, and it'll allow the air change. And as long as you don't have a lot of headspace in it, I'll start testing it to see how it's going at about 7 days at this time of year. Yeah, it's pretty easy. You can add all kinds of things to the cabbage, like you can add juniper berries or caraway seeds. That's just the basic thing. But I make white kimchi. Red kimchi is a little too much for us. I make fermented beets, fermented carrots, whatever. Basically, if it's in the refrigerator, it's fermentable.
Wow. Okay, great.
Helps keep everything regular, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. So if you send those recipes to us, Chris will put it on our show notes.
Yeah. Yeah. And this has helped you with your inflammation.
Oh my gosh, yes. Yeah, it's just been such a game changer. Getting my gut health back. I'm also less airheady. I don't know if that's I'm 61 years old. You know, it's like your body changes when you go through menopause. All those things that I was experiencing, I don't experience it anymore. I have the more energy than when I was 40. I honestly feel like I was diving in my 30s and taking people on a daily basis, do 5 dives a day. That's the energy level I have right now. And it's
awesome.
Really improving my gut health.
You said you don't eat the ultra processed foods, but are there any other foods that you avoid?
I love cheese. Cheese, by all intents and purposes, cheese is a processed food.
Right.
But it doesn't have any bad stuff in it. So I have to watch it. I love a good glass of red wine. I really do. But I've learned that it's not really good for me. So it's really in moderation. That's the kind of stuff I'm avoiding. I'm sleeping now. I take magnesium glycinate 2 hours before I go to bed. And there was a kind of a joke in the house because Dad died in 2019 that I haven't slept since 2019. And everybody's like, ha ha ha. And I'm like, you have no idea. But when I started magnesium glycinate in August, I sleep now. I sleep through the night. I don't get up to go to the bathroom. There's no problems. There's no worry, nothing to worry. I actually sleep.
It's made a big difference then. That's great.
So yeah, I think magnesium is the least talked about of the minerals that are, the essential minerals. And it really people need to really look at, because you can do a blood test and that doesn't mean it's in your bones. The more cortisol you have, I understand, the more depleted your magnesium levels are. And I'm the cortisol queen. So,
I want to go back. So my husband died when he was 52. And when that happened, I really started focusing on running and going to the gym and changing my eating habits. And looking back, I think it was as much about coping with grief as it was with any desire I had to get in shape. I know your husband died unexpectedly, and then you began to really focus on your health. And you mentioned about being concerned about your daughters having a mother. But can you just talk a little bit about how you think grief affected your health goals, or, what the connection there?
Well, for me, I think it was more, I was really looking at the kids. my one daughter, I had said previously, she was the one that was doing CPR, and that's with her for the rest of her life.
Right.
I don't know. I wanted to do something better for them. I wanted to be, a better example for them, because when you're in your 20s, you're invincible. I mean, everything worked, but I really wanted, so when I was running and, right now it's winter, I'm not doing much running, to be honest with you. It's, but it was something that was keeping me going, like focus, like I'm not going to die today, or this isn't going to kill me. I am factor 5 Leiden positive. That means that I have this little gene in my blood that I'm super good at clotting. In fact, I'm the best at clotting. Absolutely incredible. So when I was 53, I threw a blood clot, was a DVT. I was actually looking at getting the surgery that I ultimately had, which was this going up through the greater saphenous vein. And then they basically destroy the greater saphenous vein, and then your blood, it gets rerouted. The human body's incredible how it heals itself. That was scary. Like I didn't want that. And I was looking back at that. And so I eventually had the surgery. I had to wait a couple of years. That was what the big life change was getting my veins intact. Now I've been good for many years and I get regular checkups. But this factor 5 Leiden positive it's my ticket to Xarelto every day. Yeah, I get to take Xarelto every day for the rest of my life. But it's a blood thinner. It does its purpose.
You have a positive attitude. I get to do this.
Well, I do. That's the whole thing, is I get to do this because I don't really like the alternatives.
Right. You got to think about
and
that.
that's a good way to think, that some medications allow you to, I mean, we all are like trying not to avoid taking medications, but some allow you to live and to live your life well.
Exactly. My dad was on a blood thinner that he couldn't eat broccoli, and he could have a half a cup of salad.
My dad was on
no
spinach.
Too. Don't eat kale, right?
Right. And you're looking at the vitamin K level like every 6 weeks. Whereas Eliquis and Xarelto, you can eat what you eat and you just take it every day. I'm sure that I constantly am checking, for any side effects. So far, so good.
Excellent.
Well, you mentioned the running. When you were running a lot, did you have a training plan where you have goals with different races, or was it basically just run a couple miles to try to keep the weight off? Tell us a little bit about that.
Okay. So I had this great superintendent at my previous school district, and he's a runner and coach. I talked to him. I said, I want to do something more than just the walking. I feel like I might be ready to run. How do I do this? And he goes, intervals. And I'm like, okay, what does that mean? And he says, no, you got to try it like this. Run for 30 seconds, walk for a minute. And then what do? Run for 30 seconds, walk for a minute. And you just keep doing this. And I'm like, what? Am I going to stare at my watch the whole time? He says, you're a music teacher. Figure it out. There's all these playlists out there for whatever you want to do. You want to run for 2 minutes and then you want to walk for 4, whatever you want to do, 1 for 1, whatever you want to do in intervals, there's a playlist for it. Somebody else did the work, or you can just take the regular music that you like and just like when you're ready that you need to change. That was a lot less impact on my knees. I've had 7 knee surgeries on my left knee. So I got to watch it. I got to make, in theory, like I shouldn't be able to do what I can do, but I could do it, and but that was the best advice. So I started off with intervals. Then I don't know, how you get into it and you start reading everything. And then there's all the conflicting advice. And then it's like, well, the right thing, as long as it doesn't hurt, you're okay. When it starts to hurt, then you might need more specific advice. You need to back it up. But I've just been really lucky that either I'm always reading the right thing or my body's resilient. I think more my body's resilient. I think everybody's body is resilient. So it's just a matter of doing it. One of the programs that I'm a coach for Girls on the Run at school. Girls on the Run is not about running. Girls on the Run is about getting these girls that are in 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade equipped to have the social, emotional skills for life, but specifically to get them ready for middle school. They get a quality social, emotional lesson about how to deal with when a friend is bothering you, or a friend is not being nice to you, or, when this happens, and how to deal with those kinds of disappointments. And we run, and they have activities with it. So it all, the running goes hand in hand. The end goal is for the girls to participate in a 5K, which they do the first Sunday of June every year. And Girls on the Run is a wonderful program. It's all over the United States. The thing that we do with the girls, it doesn't matter whether you're doing intervals, if you're walking the whole time, if you're running the whole time, if you're skipping, if you're doing tumble salts, as long as you're going forward, it doesn't matter.
Wow, I didn't realize all that about Girls on the Run. I've heard about it before, but I don't really know anything about it. Interesting. That's something.
I just love that it's meant for all girls, and it really, I don't know. It's when kids hear Girls on the Run, oh, it's a running club, and that's not for me. And then, I get to talk to some of my girls that might be like I was when I was a little girl. I was on the chubby side, and it's just giving you the tools in your toolbox, how to deal with the latest fashion trends. It sounds so dumb, but little girls need this. And then in middle school, we have a program that's called Heart and Soul, SOLE.
Oh, cool.
That's the middle school to get them ready for high school and to help them through, all the middle school stuff. But it's all SEL learning, and it's social emotional learning is so important, especially now that we're out of COVID. These kids, there's a lot that they have held on to, and we're trying to get back to a new normal with all of our kids.
That's great.
Yeah.
3rd, 4th, and 5th grade, perfect age, because girls haven't quite gotten into the I hate my body.
Oh, you'd be surprised where it starts. I've met in the course of 3 years at this school district, I have met little 8-year-olds that do not have a positive body image. Can you imagine 8 years old?
Oh my.
And of course, at 5th grade, and everybody's maturing at different rates, that's where it really sets in 5th grade. But if we can get that girl to just go forward, to just to show up, it really makes a difference. And the most amazing thing is when they complete the 5K. We have a rule on our team. I don't really care if you run the whole thing, but we as a team are going as fast as our slowest runner. So if we're walking, and it's okay. And because there's no times on the race, it's not a timed race. It is just finish it. My very first Girls on the Run, I had a beautiful young lady who, she just impressed me because she hurt her ankle when she was away at a family function, still drove 3.5 hours to get back for the race. And she's at that time I had just gotten married. And so she's like, Miss Clark, I'm here. I'm walking it. You doing it with me? And I'm like, right next to you. So she completed it with a bum ankle.
Wow. That's fantastic.
Yeah. Amazing.
A lot of ice that day. A lot of ice that day.
Yeah.
So I know you do strength training. Do you go to a gym or?
I'm supposed to go to a gym. I'm supposed to go to Planet Fitness, but that's like 45 minutes away. I have some weights, and my husband, I have to be honest, I'm not being very good about my strength training right now. So I have a plan come January 1st. I'm getting back on the wagon.
Do you have a home gym then?
I have an Echelon. I have an Echelon bike that it's not being used, and I have a treadmill. But I just more get out. I have a 94-pound chocolate lab and,
okay.
and a 60-pound golden retriever.
They're heavy to pick up, that's for sure.
Yeah, I don't do that.
That's lifting weight.
When I'm running the chocolate lab, he's my running buddy. He's good. He's good on a leash. That's because I didn't train him. I adopted him when he was 18 months old from the Delaware Valley Golden Retriever Rescue. And yeah, I know he's not a golden retriever, but he's golden hearted. He's really good. I learned a way to take his 6-foot lead and put it around my back so that he is right in heel position while we're running. And in other words, it's not like a lot of work for me, and I can still move, because you never want them to get out ahead of you. It's, big dog, you go down.
They'll cut you off.
Yeah. He'll just be like, squirrel. No.
Yeah, right. Well, when you're running, especially.
Yeah, but he's a good boy, and he switches to intervals very easily. The golden retriever, not so much, but she's very beautiful. She's
my Penny is also, she's an Irish doodle, and she is a beautiful dog, but
yeah,
intervals are a puzzle to her.
Anything.
Everything is a puzzle to Penny, let's be honest.
Yeah, her name is Hoya, and Hoya is just the most beautiful dog in the world. She's just beautiful. But yeah.
Yep, got that.
That's fun. So when you're working out, do you have like a certain why that you keep in your mind, or a mantra? I mean, what keeps you motivated with working out?
Well, I have one between my husband and I, but we're not going to say that one. But no, I just want to I'm 61. I want to retire from teaching actively in the classroom when I'm 70. So that's a big deal. I have a health goal of living healthy till 99. So I want to get this t-shirt made that says 99 over 70, and then have people ask me what it means.
Oh, that's cool.
Is that your blood pressure? No, my blood pressure is better than that. Thank you. So yeah, no, I mean, I really, I want to not just live to 99. I want to live a healthy life. I want to be able to do things. And we went on our honeymoon this past August, and we had a blast. We started off in Switzerland and then got on a Viking River cruise and sailed up the Rhine River to Amsterdam. And it was amazing. And there were a lot of people on the cruise that some were older than we were, or some acted older than we were. Like, we could do anything. We did it all. We did everything. And we had a great time. And there were people that couldn't. And I don't want to be limited based on my food choices, based on, the way I take care of my body. So that's my goal.
If someone asked you for advice on losing weight or getting fit or just trying to have a healthy life, what would you tell them?
Make little changes. You can't change all at once. If you do, you might have a setback. Make habits. Do something for 3 days. You did it for 3 days. Great. Do it for 3 more. Do it for 3 more. And just keep, my whole thing is 3s. Drink your water. The water is non-negotiable. I got my Stanley.
I do too.
I got to do my Stanley twice. If I do my Stanley twice a day, everything works better. So the water's non-negotiable, but just make little changes and try to get off the ultra processed food, because that's what's killing America, in my opinion. Children, I have been teaching since 1986. There was a period of time where I didn't teach, off gallivanting on cruise ships with the scuba diving. But when I came back, I noticed children were thicker. Their wrists were thicker. Children right now, this is to hold the clarinet. I have to look at these things. Okay. And I'm like, now I see kids at the exact same age, a 4th grader, and their arms are like twigs, but the body is out of proportion. Things are different. And I don't know what's causing it, but I'm putting my money on ultra processed food is a part of it.
Okay. That's great. Thank you.
That's all I got right now.
I want to go back to sleep. Everybody thinks about being fit and healthy, and so that in their mind translates to diet and exercise. But for me, sleep is so critical, and I've also have issues with cortisol. If I'm not careful right away, it's like a problem. So I know you have struggled with this too, and I know you've overcome a lot of it. You mentioned magnesium glycinate, but do you have other like sleep hygiene factors, things that you do to get a good routine going before your sleep? Anything you'd willing to share with us?
I used to think that if I had a glass of wine, that would be great. And what I've learned is the glass of wine is great and you fall asleep. And within 3 hours, I am awake and I'm really awake. That's the sugar spike. So I've learned that the glass of wine before bedtime is not a good idea for me. I've also learned that I don't need to eat before I go to bed. If I eat before I go to bed, I wake up 3 hours later. So our goal is to not eat after 8. I can't say that I'm actually, like I've messed around with the idea of intermittent fasting, and I like the idea of intermittent fasting, of keeping, your body without food for 12, 14 hours. It doesn't really work for me. Every time I go to try it, it's not my thing. But cutting off food at about 8 o'clock is probably the smarter thing for me. I don't have a bathtub. If I had a bathtub though, I would be taking a bath. Yeah, I have a shower, getting warm. One of the things that was a game changer this year, my wonderful husband bought the best thing. I've always had an electric blanket, but he's like, goes, well, why don't we get a mattress pad? And I'm like going, so we sleep on it? And he's like, yes. And I thought it was the craziest thing. We have an electric mattress pad and you get into bed into a nice, warm, cozy bed. But his side is not, he likes it cold. So I can be happy on my side. It was a total game changer. Yeah. My husband's kind of a genius. Television is bad for me. So we have a television in the bedroom, but when it's on, it messes me up. I guess that's the blue light special. And I don't listen to a podcast. I'll listen to an audiobook and put the timer on for 30 minutes. I have headphones, sleep headphones. That's all I got.
That's great. Good suggestions. Thank you.
I didn't even know they made sleep headphones, so that's kind of cool.
Like a headband. Yeah. And you got the two things here it's just like a headband and it's elastic. Amazon product, I'm sure.
You are a member of our private Facebook Becoming Ellie group. And thank you for being supportive of the other members in the group. That's really good. I think recognizing that all of us can support each other. And it's great that you help cheer us on in the group.
Thanks. No, I'm so grateful that you guys exist, because it's like, I'm 61. I feel like I'm alone. There's younger teachers at my school that are, interested in being healthy. Nobody that's 61 at my school that I know of, is in the same things. And when I heard the very first time, I know it's something that you guys have pre-recorded about Ellie and the Norse goddess of aging and on Thor wrestling match. And I'm like, I want to be that.
I know. Isn't that great?
That's not even pre-recorded. We say that each time because we want to be that.
It is. I am telling you, it's like the first time I heard that, I was just like, that's me. I want to be that. That is it. Yes.
Yeah. I want to beat Thor in a wrestling match.
I'm game. I'm like, it's like,
yeah. Well, that's our community. And I was wondering, would you mind sharing with us how the Becoming Ellie community has influenced you?
There's just always somebody going through the same thing you're going through. I can't remember, but it was something private that I was struggling with. And I just don't remember it right now. But I remember a bunch of other women saying, oh, yeah, same thing. Oh, totally in there. Don't have a solution, but I'm there with you. And I was just, it just made it better. Because if you go on your own Facebook and you get vulnerable, you have people.
Oh, yeah.
And this and that. So there's some anonymity within the group, which I kind of, even though my name's out there, they don't really know me from Adam. And that's fine.
Right. We do work hard to try and keep bots and
non-people.
There are non-people.
Well,
no, just sometimes weird things happen on Facebook. We really check out each application. And so we don't approve it the first second it comes through, but because we want it to be a space where people can feel like they can share.
I like the anonymity of it, but at the same time, if you, like there was somebody that for a while we exchanged data on our Apple Watches. And I met her in there, and that was pretty cool. I've lost track with her. I like that. Like, you can have what you want out of it. Like, you can go there and find information. You can go there and seek people, look for, like common things, or you can not, it's all your choice.
So are there any new challenges that you're taking on for this next year?
Yep.
The next time frame?
Yep. I'm going to say it here. I'm going to do 9 5Ks. 9. I am signed up for
What? 9
5Ks. I am doing 9 5Ks in 2025. 9. I'm not 12. I'm doing 9. 9 is okay. 9 is committable. Well, there's 5Ks that you can do. You can do virtual 5Ks, and you just send your data in. Actually, you don't even have to send it. You still get the medal.
It's the honor system.
The honor system. But yeah, I mean, I'll still send in my data. My problem is that they do most of the 5Ks in this area on Sundays, and I want to run on Saturdays. So that's hard. But there's this really good running club at Confluence Running. It's our store. They're the people that take care of my feet. They're the ones that got me into my New Balance 860s because I pronate. And man, if I didn't have those, I'd be like in arch support.
Isn't that amazing how you go to those fancy shoe stores and they just look at you? You look at your feet and look at you walk or run and say, "Oh, like." There was a shoe that Chris really liked, and they looked at me and they said, "You can never wear that shoe."
There was another really great place, Fleet Feet in Asheville, North Carolina, and they put me in a shoe that could have been great. I wanted it to be great, but it didn't. The New Balance shoe, it has a bigger, wider toe box, and so I can actually just move my toes around, and that's a big deal for me.
Yeah.
So if they just changed the toe box on it, I would have done it. But they were really great with analyzing the foot and the motion.
If someone wants to contact you, anyone listening, should they send an email to us and we'll let you know? Or
yeah, I mean, you could do it that way, or find me on Facebook. I'm
okay.
I'm out there.
And Facebook is where
Sounds
you're
good.
most likely to be found.
Sadly, yes, because I'm old. Because
that's right. We're all on Facebook too. So
I am on Instagram, but my dogs are on Instagram. Dogs have Instagram.
There you go.
My dog has an Instagram page.
Well, gee, we sure appreciate you talking with us today, Karen. You've been so helpful with so many great ideas, and thank you so much.
Thank you for having me as a guest. I appreciate you.
Thanks, and it's been a pleasure.
Yeah, we'll talk again soon. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Wow, Karen gave us a whole lot to think about. Sleep is something that I've really struggled with. And I've found that if I can conquer my sleep, the exercise, food, weight loss, all the other things start to fall into place. And so her suggestions, I mean, she talked about a lot of things that I already do, but things that I'm going to try as well. Like, I don't usually take a bath at night, but that is a great way to relax before you get into bed. And of course, when you're in the water, you're not going to be doing screen time, right? Unless you're really living dangerously.
I watched a guy with his phone while sitting in the whirlpool at my gym the other day, and I thought,
"Are you kidding
me? This is probably against the rules, but and also, yes, living dangerously."
Well, the whirlpool, it splashes up. I don't know. I just think of water and cell phones are about the worst mix ever.
Yes. I think it's amazing that Karen has lost 100 pounds. And she did talk a bit about the weight fluctuation, which I think is normal for most of us. And Weight Watchers, she used Weight Watchers. We've had other people talk about Weight Watchers. It's helped a lot of people lose weight.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's how I first lost my weight. And it took me 5 years because I decided I wanted to do it slowly since it went on so slowly. I didn't do it quite as slow as it went on. I found that was very helpful. And, in the podcast, she kind of went back to a lot of that same thought process. Make little changes, don't try to do everything all at once because you'll have a setback. When you jump in with both feet, if you don't think you can do it, try it for just 1 day or 3 days, drink the water and, get off the ultra processed foods. And even that took me a long time. It was definitely a process, not ultra process.
Well, I will say those are the things too that I think they are so easy to sneak back into
Oh my gosh,
your
yes.
diet. It's not just giving them up, and you have this period of being, you feel very virtuous and you're doing everything right, and then something happens and it just slowly creeps back in, and that's when I think you really have to work on that, on being vigilant about what you want to be doing.
Right, right. And I can't say I'm 100% either because, things still do sneak in. But like for instance, Diet Coke, that took me forever to get rid of it finally.
You know what made me get rid of the Diet Coke?
What?
My dentist. Someone at the dentist's office said to me, "Are you drinking a lot of soda pop? Because you're getting little mini cavities in your teeth from
Yep.
and it wasn't sugar, it was a diet thing, but it was something about
Yeah.
whatever's in Coke, which made me remember that my brother used to use it to remove rust from his car many
Yeah.
years ago."
Yeah. Well, I remember one time having a Diet Coke when I wasn't planning to, but I just needed something to drink and there was absolutely nothing around. I think we were camping. I drank a Diet Coke and my stomach hurt so bad. And I thought, you know what? I really have made the switch.
Yeah. She also, besides changing how she eats, she also does the intermittent fasting, which I was thinking about, wonder if she did one or the other, what would have happened. But I mean, who knows? But I do think that eating the whole foods really has to have helped her health.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I think your body just appreciates it so much more when, like, for instance, we talked a little bit about gut health in this episode, too. She gave us some great recipes. I have to admit, I couldn't write everything down as she was talking. So I'm looking forward to getting a copy of that from her as well. But I want to say it's weird things. I put that in air quotes, but you start thinking about weird food, think of a Cheeto. That's
Well, I think the recipes
really
were for kombucha, which is something that
is weird. If you
there was a
haven't
point
had
where
it,
you would have thought Diet Coke was normal and kombucha was weird.
exactly. Fermented foods like kefir or however you say it. She had a couple different pronunciations. Fermented cabbage.
Yeah. Well, she said, and all the other vegetables she ferments.
Yeah. I mean, it seems weird until you start thinking about what's really in that ultra processed food. It has such a beautiful picture on the front and ads, whether they're on TV or I see a lot of ads, on billboards even. I mean, it's everywhere. You really have to guard against it.
Oh, yeah. And, I was standing in the craft store the other day. I was at Joann's, and standing in line waiting to check out. And the whole aisle leading up to the cash registers is full of candy bars and snacks. And there were even drinks. And I thought, this is like running the gauntlet to just check out.
Right. Absolutely.
So, yeah, it's everywhere. The other thing I thought was interesting was she did the functional medicine testing, the blood work that she had done.
Oh, yeah.
That was interesting. And
so impressive.
Yeah, I'm sure that is not an inexpensive thing, but I may just check it out.
It's about $500. I checked it out on the website because I'm pulling together the links for the show notes. And, I looked through all the different tests and I've had the majority of those tests through 2 different doctors that I go to, but there's still, that C-reactive protein. I'm not sure I've ever actually had that. I don't know if there's other names for that, but I'm curious about it to see what it says for the inflammation.
That was one of the things I thought I need to go back through my records and see if I've had that and how long ago it was. I think I had that, but I think it's been a few years.
Yeah. Well, just an absolute wonderful interview with her. I just thought she was so great to share her, journey with us and be so open about it because Karen's a regular person,
Right.
And I love when we talk with regular people because I love when we talk the experts too. Don't get me wrong. I love that. But, we're all in this together and to hear someone who's been able to lose a lot of weight and keep it off and, still has ways to go with things like, don't we all? I mean, life keeps changing. So.
Right. And she's busy living her life too. Her schedule of teaching and, leading an orchestra, the music, all of that.
A new husband, it's a lot.
She's a busy woman. That's just very impressive. So
yeah. I love that she talked with us. I love that. So
So if you're listening, let Chris and me know if you have some thoughts on our talk with Karen or how you're doing on your own fitness journey. If you have any thoughts about health, fitness, whatever, please share with us.
Absolutely. We'd love to hear from you. And you can leave us a message at becomingellie.com. And you can also find us as Becoming Ellie on Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, YouTube, and LinkedIn.
And please consider joining our private Becoming Ellie Facebook group.
And it's January 2025. So we've released this So Happy New Year to you. And don't forget that we're doing a January Becoming Ellie bingo. You can find that bingo sheet on our website. It's a 2025 January bingo.
Yes. Hopefully we'll be hearing calls of bingo throughout the
right. We want to hear how you're doing. You may remember Wendy Green from New Goals and Dreams with Wendy Green, our episode 139 of the Fit Strong Women Over 50.
Yes, Wendy gave us a lot of good insights in that episode. Chris and I want to remind you that Wendy Green is the host of the inspirational Boomer Banter podcast. She pursues real talk about aging well.
At Boomer Banter, Wendy explores financial literacy, mental and physical health, relationships, and having a purpose to help you age well. Listen to her podcast at her website, heyboomer.biz. That's HEY boomer, all one word, .biz.
Yes, be sure to check out Wendy's podcast. It was great talking with you today, Chris. I'm looking forward to our next episode of the Fit Strong Women Over 50 podcast.
I am too. See you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.